one of the last pieces to do on the wall unit and also on the house, you can see the kitchen behind me, is I have to make 6 doors. They're not that big. The doors are right here. I'm going to veneer, but because of the way the rest of it is, maybe, I don't know if I went a little overboard, but I'll show you in one sec. Like this on the wall unit, and you can say, well, why don't you just make your doors like this? I didn't want it repeating. I wanted something different. I wanted to use the veneers, and I had some gorgeous, gorgeous burl down right here. I've had it sitting here under the clamp, flattening. I don't know if you're familiar with burl down, but it doesn't really have a grain, and then when it dries, it kind of goes this way, that way, so it can be really funky wood to work with. So I did this yesterday. I started using Super Soft. You can look online, other people showing it. It's basically spray, put paper towel in between, and that's it. Now let's take a look how it came out. And I got a pattern in my head, but I don't want to make it so complicated. I got 6 doors. The big thing is, if you start doing built-in cabinetry, you're going to find out very fast, compared to furniture, you go through a lot of material. And sometimes if you're on a budget, you know, like I only got so much money I could spend, you know, you kind of pick key areas. And, you know, but you want to put detail, but you got to mass produce it, if that makes sense. So it's not like furniture where, you know, you could spend all week on one top. I don't have that luxury. I'm giving myself today, this has to be done, whether I crawl out of here at midnight or not. But these 6 doors are got to be done because it's super soft. If I come back tomorrow, leave this burl down open, it's going to go back to the way it is, and that's not going to be much fun. So let's see how it came out. Alright, look at that, eh? And the paper towel's pretty dry, so I did my job. I don't have too much because this super soft can interfere with the glue. At this point, I really didn't have a pattern or really what I was going to do. So, with that said, I have my 6 doors there, and I'm cutting some strips there, border to go around, because it was really the burl down that I was trying to use in that project. And here I am just cutting like strips, because I'm going to do those little squares that you see on the outside of the door if you go further on in the video, and just get everything all organized. I'm only using a knife. I'm not that great with the veneer saw, and I'm not going to lie. I don't use a lot of it. With the paperback, which is the walnut there, the lighter one, it was really easy to cut. You got really sharp cuts, but it's not as thick as the other one. So some of it, when I put it together, I just took a little sandpaper and you know, just gave it a little shot if I had a little ridge with the knife. And I'm using also on my table a soft back there, so I'm able to cut on it and not dull my knife. Okay, so I did my first one, and what I'm a little nervous of is if you look here, like there's paperback on the walnut. It was a leftover piece, and I'm just, you know, I'm not really using it. Just I think it'll look pretty. It'll look perfect to this project. So I just gotta watch it, you know, with the glue. If it's too wet or too long, then the paper could wrinkle. All right. So yeah. Now you know why I'm doing one. So it came out pretty decent. Like, I'm happy with it. I wasn't supposed to go this elaborate. I'm supposed to back off. Stop, Kevin, stop. It's going to cost me an extra day, and it's out of my pocket. My percentage of the house might go down. So I'll let it go at that. But I think it's cool for that little door, eh? You know? So that's the walnuts on that side. That's just the paper what you see there. So I use that tape all the way along. Try to get every seam. What I was really careful of, make sure it doesn't go underneath. All right? So we do the first one. We got an hour to wait, so then we'll continue with the other one. I'm 98.6% sure that this is going to be perfect. I just want to do it, you know, because you got 6 of them, eh? You got to be careful. And the glue I'm using, Gorilla, or I use any PVA for that matter. Don't put too much of it on. Some people say put a little bit of tape there, or pencil on, pardon me, and then so you can keep an eye on it because it can cause a disaster. And then the only other thing I have to worry about is a brittle elm. I used a conditioner to keep it flat. So I've got to go on the road tomorrow, so I won't be back here till Friday. So there's no way I'm going to finish it today. I'll get a couple done at least. And so I'm not too sure. All right, I got a nice thin, you know, not too heavy. And I can see how even it is. Right? So I'm going to go with the grain up, the grain here. And when I go over there, okay, just by hand, when I'm watching for his ridges, I got a little bit over, not a lot. Move that maybe over to here. It's already gripping. Okay, so let's go on over here. So normally a little bit wax paper. I'm a little bigger here because I don't want this to squish in on the edge. So I'm just going to add a touch more weight here. All right, so pretty good. So far, so good. And this grill, it evens the pressure, so you don't have pressure on one edge. I want it equal. Okay, looking pretty good here. It's oversized. I know it is. That's okay. Up just for my own head. Push this in. I mean, if you haven't invested or tried one of these vacuum pumps, oh man, they're amazing. On my top, I was a little skeptical, but I'm in love with these. All right, now I'm gonna turn it on and just hold it up. Just take one last look. All right, let it rip. On the vacuum, you can see right there, I'm just kind of lifting up the hose to make sure it can suck back. The one thing is get that mesh there. Without it, I don't think you can get like a pocket, or you won't get the proper suction. It's a must, and it gives equal pressure all the way across. I'm in love with the vacuum. Invest in it. I know the pump to go buy, you're going to spend $200 or $300, but maybe look for used. how do I make a, I got a wrinkle right here, and I'm going to put it back in. I'm perfect all the way along, except for here. All right, I'm going to have to go one more. That's a little too much moisture. Before I do that, okay, this is where you put too much glue. And I can feel it right here, right? So, if it doesn't take, then I'd have to put a knife there and put a little polyurethane, but a little disappointed on that one. I was surprised there. I was expecting maybe here. But anyways, I'm going to take an iron there, take away the heat on it, and then I'm going to put it. I took an iron there, and that brought it down. It was just too much moisture in there. Could have been a little bit of it on the tape. I'm a little fast. That's okay. I gave 1 hour. Now I'm going to put it back in here. Remember, have that iron ready. You know, it will save your ass on something like this. And, you know, don't forget about that iron. Now here I'm cutting and trimming, and now I'm getting ready with the edging. The only thing I'd say about the edging, make sure you get a nice glue edge all the way across, nice little ridge, so that if there's not enough glue there and you go there later, you'll see in a minute with the rotor, the edge can go flying off. I've done this for hundreds and hundreds of miles, literally, with edging, and it's the only way to go. It protects your veneer. Now I don't have to worry about the edge of that veneer being soft. It's got a solid wood edging. It ever gets dinged over the years, can easily be fixed, replaced, or whatever it needs to be. And I glue them in. The only drawback with this is you can only really do one edge at a time. You can't do two edges when you glue it in. So, you know, and here's right here where I did a mistake, and I'm trying to take the tape off. I'm not like wetting it so hard. I'm just trying to reactivate the tapes that's there, and because I don't like sanding off the tape, because you end up going into the wood and it's a little tricky because you concentrate on sanding the tape, not on the veneer itself. So here I go. I've done this before, and you know, you're gonna find out in 1 minute it's a big mistake. I had it up to here now. There's so much false promises with glue that said they're exterior that it's unreal. And I tried to trust Gorilla Glue, which says type 2 water resistant. Alright, I used it for the veneer, and Tribon 2, 3, I don't care if it's 4 or 8. I've seen it exterior when the sun hits it, warms up, and the glue lets go. I've seen it firsthand, and I'm not making exaggerated claims or whatever. This one, maybe I shouldn't have wet the tape to lift it up. Maybe I was a little lazy there. You know, I figured I'd wet it, give it a scrape, come off. I've done it before. It's not the first time I've done it, and I had no problem. You know. And the only glue I would recommend is this to press. Go with these guys. I mean, I know the bottle's pretty full and everything else. I didn't order it because this time of the year, I was afraid of it freezing on the way here. And I do pay a lot. They kill me on shipping, so I want to get extra. So, now I've taken them out. Now it's gone back, eh? Now, all right. Now look at me, like you won't see me too pissed off. What happened there, and I'm not gonna go physics and you know, like a lot of the crap, I get pissed off on the YouTube because there's a lot of amateurs here, and they'll give you false promises on the glue. If that glue wasn't reactivated, what I mean by reactivate, when I put the water in there and I softened it, and then when it dried, it went back to its state, it wouldn't have worked in that press. So I put it back in the press, and I'm back to the way it was. All right? All I'm going to say is, never again. I got an iron here. I'm just going to make sure there's no moisture in there. I'd be very careful. What's bad about some of those water-based glues is if you're doing veneer and you want to use a water-based finish, you'd really have to be careful. You know, your veneer could lift up. So that's it. You know, and I know Gorilla, like, they have amazing marketing and everything else. Yes, their polyurethane. Yes, exterior, go to it. But the wood glue, no, I don't think it's any different from all the rest of them. You know, you might as well just use craft glue, Lepage's. It's the same thing. And if they want to go strength and everything else, and that's such a loaded question. All right, so that's it. I've saved the doors here. I'm back to where I was. But man, that was a piss off, especially when you're doing your edging. I have a little bit of a wrinkle here, you know, very little, but I'm not concerned about it. You know, I'm just taking the iron to make sure there's no moisture in that wood, eh? And that's it. I won't do that again. I mean, it was a amateur move, but I've done it lots of times before with the other glue, God knows how many times. And then because of that, I was in such a rush. Then the chip right here, I'm going to have to fix that. So, could have been worse. And then that's the only thing I'm going to say about glue. I'm hoping, you know, I can get 5 gallons of this stuff. And the other one, Lepage's exterior, you know, I'll use that. I haven't tried on veneer. I've used it on exterior doors, and I've never ever had a problem. You know, I made a lot of doors, and like I said, I'm on the coast here, and we're in a harsh environment. We're not like in Arizona or a place like that that's very dry, and you're putting out there. You might get baked in the sun, but here the weather's just plain nasty. All right, so I saved it, and that's it for my rant. I'm just touching this here, and you know, because you know you work hard and you hate for stuff like that to happen, huh? You know, but I am using, the finish I'm using is oil, the first couple of coats, so should give it that barrier, but definitely the glue can't hang, if any moisture goes on that glue, look out, eh? And anybody wants to give thoughts and say, you know what, you're overreacting or whatever, please give experiences. Not like what you think, because what you think and what marketing goes on in the real world can be 2 different things. All right, now I got that out of the way. So I'm using the little rotor to trim the edges. This has worked without fail. I don't know how many miles of this I've done. It's the best way, and you know, you have a nice solid wood edge frame around there, and it also helps with if you're a little off on the edge and it doesn't butt in exactly, you won't really notice it. So, and it protects the veneer so much. And on a couple of them, it's really dry in the shop. I have a oil furnace, and everything's getting so brittle, and so some of this veneer, it's just cracking so easy. So here I am trying to repair the last couple of pieces, because this is kind of like the last step before I get into sanding. And so, you know, you gotta make sure, I don't want to be like, oh, whoops, I forgot to do this touch up or that touch up. Some of it was so small, I just put a little bit of wood glue and some sawdust and just kind of forced it in there a bit, you know, to give it the color. And others I had to cut out like little diamonds or little squares with the veneer. And when I clamp it, the important thing is use the block, but make sure you put wax paper so there's no chance of sticking that little block. You know, because you just put the block straight there and the glue leaks out. You could take a chunk of the veneer with you, and you could end up having more damage than you're trying to repair. Now, when I'm sanding here, I'm using a 120 and I'm spinning it around. I'm trying to take a layer. You might say, well, why don't you start with a 150? 150, it could take you a long time. And you can see now the tape, I'm playing it safe. I'm sanding it off. It's not my favorite thing because you end up taking a kind of like a layer of veneer, and you end up taking the glue, like the leftover, the resin, and taking a little extra veneer off, which I'm not crazy about, but I have no choice. If I had moisture there to try to reactivate that glue and peel it off, I'm asking for a world of hurt. So I guess I learned my lesson. I mean, I've done it before and I've never had any problems. But like I said, the glue, as soon as I put the water on it, lifted up. It activated, got soft. So now I'm adding grain filler. I wanted to use the clear and some of the other fancy ones, but I don't know. There was one there, the UV activated, that really entices me. But in this case, I'm just using, regular farmer's brand. You can I get this stuff by like almost a gallon at a time, and you can reactivate it. It's easy to work with, and just kind of going against the grain. I'm using regular putty knife. I'm obviously not going to go too tight that I'm going to, wrong way and push too hard and I'm going to scratch it. Now the sanding on the final here, I have a 150. I'm just spinning it around, trying not to sand in one area. The only other thing that you will find if you get more into veneer is paperback veneer is not as thick as unpaperback, all right? So the danger with any of that, what I don't like about it is you can't sand through it. On one of them, I sanded through the corner. There was a little repair, and I didn't get pushed through, but I was able to hide it. Now the staining, there's a little bit of glue there, so I just took a little bit of sandpaper and rubbed it with stain over, and it works every time. So don't panic if you see a little glue spot or a little something you didn't expect. And trying to act like a team there, passing it back and forth, but it's a small piece. After this, I think I was being too critical. Oh, you missed a spot, or it was wobbling a bit there on the sand because they're trying to get the edge there. So, and it's always a little dicey at the end because nobody wants to make a mistake. So I walked away and refused to supervise and just let the camera roll. And the stain we were picking out, I didn't want so much a contrast. I wanted the grain. I wanted that look, what I think some of the Art Deco furniture had, of multiple grains and different woods and so patterns. So there's a lot of interpretation with Art Deco. There's Art Nouveau, arts and crafts, and then Art Deco coming up, and these were all within like what were they? 20 years, and then before that you had Victorian. So you had such a clash of talent, wood and everything else being together. So that's why you see so many different styles. I am not trying to copy. I will not copy. I just use it as an influence, and I'm just throwing. I'm not trying to throw that word out there. Like, what do you mean? And like some people might, like one person had a comment like it was Indian. Yeah, I guess I could see the influence in that. I looked at some of it when he said it, and yeah, I could see it there. I guess it's just mathematical patterns and the way the human brain works, and that's basically really my philosophy there. I just keep it 45 straight and spin things around and use different woods. So that's really it. Not much more I can say up to this point. Good luck if you're going to try this. Remember the mistakes. If you made it this far, thank you for the support. Thank you for watching Katie Custom Woodworking. I'm just in closing I'm going to say, like, if I was to do this one again on the top left to the right here, I would reverse the 45. I kept it the same to kind of blend in. You see the way they're pretty good there. Pretty good there. So I would switch them around a bit. Like this one I got the wrong way with the grain. But that's about it. The only other thing I would suggest, if you're trying to get a pattern similar, would be do the square first. Then do your border out. I did it on the outside because I was looking at the math and I was trying to trim it and I was trying not to be perfect. This is only one element. The thing is, when you get used to doing built-ins, you try not to dwell on this. Like maybe this was furniture, I'd spend 2 weeks doing it. But when you have all these other pieces that you're trying to get going at the same time, you're trying to come up with a nice formula to be fast, to be good at the same time, which can sometimes be an oxymoron. So here we are. I'm very happy with the look though. Like in the center, I apologize for the garbage in behind. Somebody's supposed to come by and pick it up and for burning. Right there in the center, that's going to be a center channel. I'm going monster center channel. And why is that? You'll see on our next episodes. So tune in. Remember, I'm thanking you for the second, third, fourth time. Please tune in, subscribe, and all this, how I made these cabinets, everything else, and all the unit are on the channel. Now you're thinking, now I gotta finish this, eh? All right, I'm very happy. This is getting sprayed right now as we speak. I'm going to tint this a little more in the center. I wanted a little contrast compared to the other one. And there's the doors for the cabinets. And here's some undermount molding for the kitchen. All right.